Husband thinks 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night is enough. My 24F husband, 27M, thinks I'm pathetic for being exhausted from 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night. Lately I've been having a very hard time sleeping. I work a physical job starting at 4 a.m. and walk about 8-10 miles a day at work. After work I do powerlifting training for an hour to an hour and a half. Not to mention other life responsibilities. My husband hates that I have to wake up early for work. And also hate that it's more physically demanding than his. He also expects me to stay up late to hang out with him when he gets home from work every night. Tonight I had a breakdown trying to sleep since I'm so exhausted and stressed about things I'm dealing with. I have work in 3 hours and I don't know what to do. My husband, a USMC vet, thinks I'm being weak since he's done more on less sleep when he was active duty. Maybe he has a point, but I feel like I can't function anymore. I don't think I'm able to drive to work safely at this point. He's also irritated that I woke him up when I was crying. What do I even do? I can't even think straight. I thought this post was going to be about your husband thinking 3 to 5 hours is enough sleep for him. In which case I'd suggest investigating mania or drug use. His opinion on how much sleep you need literally doesn't matter. It's not his body, his job, his brain. Sleep deprivation is a legitimate medical issue that affects you physically and cognitively. Your husband is wrong. And he's being a dick about it. That amount of sleep is insane and extremely unhealthy. And if he reckons that he is somehow being manly by getting so little sleep, come back in a couple of decades' time and let us know how much his medical bills cost. People like your husband piss me off to no end when they think that just because they do X, that, why doesn't everyone also do it? Are you sure he isn't just huffing speed with his morning crayons? In a world full of people that are empathetic, supportive and caring, you have managed to find your husband. My advice would be to find friends that are not like your husband. Maybe they can provide some much-needed support and comfort. The obvious advice would be to find a better husband or to become a better finder. But maybe you like your husband for other reasons. Do not drive while you're exhausted. It's like driving drunk. Ask your husband if he's trying to kill you. A USMC vet thinks I'm being weak since he's done more on less sleep when he was active duty. And how is the mental health of vets? How many vets are in disability for mental health issues? I have a rule that served me well in life. I don't argue with people about my body. You need the amount of sleep that you need. You're the best judge. You don't need to debate with him or scurry around finding evidence. Stop arguing with your husband about sleep and tolerating his insults. You leave someone who is abusing you. He keeps you up. A torture method. He verbally abuses you by calling you weak. He's not a good person. The body needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. You aren't getting half that. Well, your husband is one of the lucky few people who only needs a few hours of sleep. It's a genuine thing. He might not realize that most people can't function on that little sleep and think that they're being dramatic by claiming they can't. That being said, he should be able to see that you're suffering and have empathy for you either way. Everyone responds to things differently. Lack of sleep, pain, emotional distress, etc. He should be able to see that you don't have the same tolerance for a lack of sleep that he does. And show you empathy anyway. If you've been getting 3 hours of sleep a night for a while, that starts to get dangerous as well. It can lead to loss of coordination, memory loss, depression, and even heart disease. Put your health before his feelings. Please. You need to talk to him about it. Maybe show him some of the replies on this post. People are different. I normally get 3 through 6 hours a night and am as rested as can be. My wife needs 8 to 10 and barely gets rested from it. That's because she's not only built differently to me but handles things differently. The only thing that's pathetic here is that your husband is a grown-ass man unable to see that he isn't the template for all humanity, and taking out his frustrations on a woman he's meant to care for. Guy thinks he did his protecting for the country and isn't bothered protecting his wife? Pathetic. There are medical studies and evidence proving him wrong. Don't be a dumbass. He's free to have his position on sleep. But if he keeps pressuring you or actively interfering with your choice to get more sleep, that is abuse. Calling you weak is just trying to hit an emotional chord. If you were in a healthy headspace, aka getting enough sleep, you would be able to identify that weak is a completely meaningless insult. We don't live our lives trying to be the strongest at every aspect of life. If he wants to be a super sleep tough guy, he can go live his best life. You do what works best for you, your comfort, and your health. On the emotional side, I suspect he is using this strategy because he wants to be able to hang out with you, but doesn't know how to admit that he gets a bit lonely if you go to bed early. While that isn't necessarily your problem, it might be what he is trying to communicate, though abusively. Perhaps setting clear expectations for when you can be available to hang out will help him emotionally cope when you have to be on an earlier bedtime schedule than him. You should be trying to get 8 hours of sleep a night, especially with the amount of physical activity you do every day. Excuse me, ma'am? You said you walk 8-10 miles and then work out? Sleep deprivation is a form of abuse. And it's not on. Driving tired dangerous. Powerlifting tired dangerous, and you're probably ruining what you are trying to achieve. You need to find some common ground if you going to bed at a decent time means you have no quality time together. You are not being weak at all. Sleep is so important for a variety of things. As a husband who only requires 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night, I would never dream of telling my wife who sleeps 8 to 10 hours a night how much sleep is appropriate for her. I can't even think straight. That's because you're not getting enough sleep. There are lots of studies on how sleep deprivation affects cognitive function, how much sleep most people need a night, and other related topics. Check it out for yourself, and you'll most likely find that your husband has no idea what he's talking about. You are at home, not a war zone on active duty FFS. Maybe look at your overall lifestyle. Might be burning the candles at both ends. Also, husband needs to look into some empathy in the fact he thinks it is okay to call you pathetic as a huge location flag. Shit like this is why I think cohabitation before marriage is important. The amount of sleep people need varies a lot from person to person. Your husband sounds like he is seriously lacking in empathy and can't appreciate that others are different to him. If you can convince him, have him read Why We Sleep. It's very scientific and provides a great explanation on why sleep is so important and why most of us aren't getting enough. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.